Okay, so it's like less than 24 hours until election day, and it's a bit like Christmas. I'm getting really excited about what's going to happen, and just trying to look for information and interviews to see what sort of predictions are out there. And I came across this one by a guy named what is his name, Wayne Allen Roots. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at what he says. There we go. Let's get the window up. Let's have a listen.
Now, the United States presidential race is in its final days and the world is watching to see whether Donald Trump can win a second term in the White House.
It's been an election campaign with an unprecedented backdrop with the coronavirus pandemic, racial tension that's escalated to riots and economic hardship for tens of millions of Americans.
We're joined now by Wayne Allen Root, staunch Republican supporter, author and radio host from Las Vegas. Thank you for joining us. Donald Trump pulled it off last time despite not winning the popular vote. Do you reckon he can do it again?
Now, before he talks, I looked him up. He's definitely a Trump supporter, so it's going to be biased towards that. But he's got some interesting points. That's why I wanted to put him up, because he's just have a listen. I'll stop it when it comes to his points.
Yes, I was on your show last time. 4 years ago was the last time I was on, and I told you he was going to win, and I was probably the only one in all of America who thought he'd win.
Actually, it reminds me of Ann Coulter. Remember when he got nominated, and they asked him, of the who's going to win the election. He goes, of the the current nominations, Donald Trump, and they all just laughed at this. This sort of reminds you of the same sort of thing with Wayne Allen Root here, and he was right.
I knew there was something pollsters didn't understand. Now they're finally got a name for it. It's called the shy voter. People who are voting for Trump but will never tell a stranger or a pollster they're voting for Trump.
Actually, I've heard this before, because they're talking about this, how people get like phone, just random phone calls, the pollsters, and Trump supporters just don't want to be involved in them, whereas Biden Democrats supporters like to participate in the polls, so you're getting that skew in the polls. And also, I find it myself, if I don't care if anyone knows I'm a Trump supporter, and I put things on my Facebook, and I'll get messages of friends who don't want to publicly say they're a Trump supporter, and all just send me little bits and pieces, have a look at this, they're rioting here, rioting there, blah, 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 it's, America's in chaos. We've got a lot of friends in America, and word on the ground is that there's going to be a landslide. And I'm sort of thinking, are you sure, man? I don't, the polls are saying that Biden's like, 10 points in front. Are you sure about this? But they're pretty adamant it's going to be a landslide. So I'm really confused, man. I'm really confused what's going to go on. And so there we go. But he's saying the same thing. Silent voters that publicly do not want to say they're a Trump supporter, sort of just go about their business, and then they just turn up on a day, vote for Trump, and have a smirk afterwards, I guess.
So all those polls that I heard you quote while I was waiting for this interview, they're all wrong, just like they were all wrong 4 years ago. As a matter of fact, there's a couple of pollsters in the United States who poll based on shy voters.
Now, I'd like to know, does anyone know who these shy pollsters are? Just comment below, because I'd like to see all the polls I've seen. Biden's in front by 9, 10 points. So anyone that knows who polls the shy voters, just leave your comments below.
They get the right answers out of them. Specifically, both of them show Donald Trump about to win an electoral landslide. I don't know if he can win the popular vote, but he's about to win another electoral landslide. I predict about the same or slightly bigger than he did 4 years ago against Hillary Clinton.
OK, we'll wait to see. There are fears of widespread violence, whatever the outcome this week, Wayne. Even some speculation that the United States could be on the brink of civil war. What do you think, Wayne, can bring your country together?
Well, you're quoting the very reason why so many Americans are voting for Donald Trump. It's not that he's the most popular president. Lots of people don't like him, but they dislike what they're seeing in front of their eyes. The rioting, the looting, the burning.
Totally true. People like law and order. Imagine if it's in your neighbourhood and you've got people looting and bashing up businesses and fires and everything. People don't like that sort of stuff. They like, you know, a bit of law and order. And I know Trump was trying to get the National Guard in to help out these sort of things, but he needs like the governors of the states to give him permission to send the National Guard, and you can't just send them in, you know. So there we go.
It's all in blue Democrat cities. It's all in cities with Democrat mayors, states with Democrat governors, filled with welfare and food stamps and criminals and people who want to defund the police. And the vast silent majority of Americans doesn't want this to happen in our suburbs. This is all about saving the suburbs.
Actually, one thing I've noticed, you'll never see, I haven't seen many MAGA hats at the Black Lives Matter protests, have you? To me, it just seems, they seem just like they've been organised to create chaos. That's just my personal opinion. It just seems like a political stunt to me. Just a gut feeling, you know?
I promise you, if Donald Trump wins on Tuesday, it's going to be because the average American watches what's happening, the looting, the burning, the rioting, and they say that's the only man that could save us from it all coming to us in our beautiful, nice suburbs. We don't want our suburbs to look like the big cities. That's the #1 issue. And no one, I'll bet, in Australia or Europe or anywhere else understands all the rioting happens in Democrat cities and Democrat states. Where we live in beautiful red Republican cities and states, no crime. So we don't want that crime.
Wayne, I'm not sure that's quite right.
But personally, as I said, I think it's just a political stunt. I think if Joe Biden got in, it would just totally just disappear, because that's the whole point of it. They want to create chaos and division. So yeah, I think it's a political stunt, basically.
Right, but you're on the Trump campaign
It is, trust
trail.
me.
All right. Okay, Wayne, really appreciate your time. We'll see what happens this week. It's going to be fascinating.
All right, so then they flog his book, which I won't put on because I don't like promoting people's books and so forth. So, very, very interesting. A lot of the points he says I agree with. Yeah, he's he's a very full-on Trump supporter, that one. He was right 4 years ago. I was right as well. I thought Trump would get in. Actually made some bets with my friends and made a bit of cash. My friends that voted for Hillary, of course. But besides that, I don't know this time around. I get brainwashed by the media too. I sort of think, Biden's going to romp in sometimes, and then I hear stories like this, and then my gut feeling sort of makes me think there's a lot of rational people in America that are going to vote for Trump that don't like this, the law and order issues, defunding the police. Then they say, I don't want to defund the police. They want to take some money from the police and put it into social programs, or have like social welfare officers cruising around with the police. To me, I think that's ridiculous, because you can't put a social welfare officer in with the police. They've got to be trained exactly the same as the police. So you might as well just have the police and just do a bit more social welfare training with the police, because it's just another person that's going to be in the line of danger. Because are they going to have put them behind the cop or something so they don't get shot? To me, it's just ridiculous. The sort of solutions that they have on the Democratic side, how they're going to fix this whole thing. But as I said, I think I've read a lot of things, and they say in every 4 years this happens every time, just to get the African American vote. It's create chaos. Just do the us versus them. You got to vote for Democrats and so forth, and it seems to work in some degree, and they've just ramped it up a bit this time around. So there we go. Anyway, it's going to be a very interesting election. I've got a couple more videos. Got one on Greg Norman as well, who thinks Trump will win. They've just come out recently. There seems to be a lot of these videos on Australian TV about people supporting Trump at the moment, because I don't know why. Maybe they're trying to hedge their bets and maybe not look so silly if Trump wins. All right, so don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. So what do you reckon? Greg Norman next. I've done my Sean Connery. What else we got on there? There's a funny dude on funniest sports doping stories. I might do a video on that too, because that was quite cool. Alright guys, don't forget to like, subscribe and share. See you next time. Cheers.